I don't actually know what I'm doing here, to be honest. I've listened to all you amazing women, and I just think I am not. Has anyone here been sectioned, by the way? No, just me. Good. Right. We'll get into that in a bit. And nearly, yeah. Well, do you know, I was doing stand-up at the Edinburgh Festival, and I started my stand-up at the beginning and said, anybody here been sectioned? So mostly they said no. And then one time this woman went, me. And I went, oh, great. She went, 7 times. I went, okie dokie. Yeah. But this is all related to mental health, so I can't row the Atlantic. I did go to school with my packed lunch, but my packed lunch was, when I was 10, this is not even a word of a lie, cheese sandwich, double-decker, remember the double-deckers? Not a bus, and a packet of crisps and a can of McEwan's Lager. Because it was a red can and my mum thought it was Coke. So I got taken away and my mum said it was character building. Like when she left us in the services when we were on a coach holiday and we were in France and they went to Spain. But they found us, they said it was character building. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Well, I'm Gail, and I thought originally when I got asked it was called being bald, and I was like, what? I was just... I wasn't sure how many of us were going to be here, so, but yeah, it was great. So anyway, I've got alopecia, so, which is one of the things. I've gone through quite a few things, nothing like all of you amazing people have gone through, but mine has probably been a bit more out there for people to judge me and make their own assumptions about what I am and what I'm not, and yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah, well, where do I start off with? Well, you know about my packed lunches, that was good. And my nickname at school was Snobby Porter, because like did anyone put notes around the room? You know, you'd write something and you get belt, or did you get the belt? No. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's not just Scottish, yeah. Well, I don't want to know about your private life, but I was talking about being a kid. But yeah, so we put the notes around the table, and it said Ian was an FFF. And then it landed on my desk, and I was Snobby Porter. So Mrs. Nisbet saw me with the letter, and then she said, Gail Porter, stand up and read it. And I said, oh, it says Ian is an FFF. And then she said, what does it mean? I said, I don't know, because I'm Snobby Porter. And the boy next to me, he said, well, Ian went behind the shed and he felt Sonia's fanny, so he's a phantom fanny feeler. And I went, no, that's an FFF. And they were going, oh, sit down, it's phantom fanny feeler. They're going, sit down, you posh git. So anyway, I got picked on a lot at school. And I wanted to be Princess Leia when I was growing up, but that role was taken. So I used to go to school with my hair like this, when I didn't have hair. And I had Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia badges. So I wonder why I got picked on. Who knows? But I always just wanted to do something a little bit different. So when I went to Careers Day, I said, I'd like to work in movies or something magical. I always wanted something magical to happen. And they said to me, well, that's ridiculous, no. And they just said, get work in a bank or something. And I'm rubbish with numbers. Yeah, I'm not going to go into that anyway. But and I said I want to do that. I used to work in B&Q for a bit. I had a red dress that said Gail, happy to help, and I wasn't. But it's character building, as my mum said. And then, did all the usual sort of working in a bar and, just things. And then I worked in the television. So I was working behind the scenes. I used to work on a programme called Taggart. I was a runner. Did anyone? There's been a murder! There's been a murder! Yeah. And so I used to have to make sandwiches for free. And I used to look after the old age pensioners, the extras. They used to get £100 a day. Just to go, oh, there's been a murder. And I got nothing, and I was making hundreds of sandwiches, and then the old people would go, oh, what's for lunch today, Gail? And I'd go, well, it's ham or it's cheese. And they went, oh, we've got better sandwiches, so take the high road. I said, well, go and work and take the high road. So anyway, after all that, I was doing all the backstage stuff, and then somebody said, you're good with kids, and you're doing all these, you get on well with people. Why don't you try and audition for a kids' TV programme? And I thought, well, that's stupid. I don't want to do that. But I went along anyway for a laugh. And I got the job, first ever audition, and it was a totally interactive game show, which was a live TV show for kids. Everything went wrong. It was a complete disaster, but my gran saw me on the telly before she passed away, so she was quite chuffed about that. It was quite sad because she was really proud of me, and she was in her bed, and I managed to speak to her, old phones, 50 pence in, and I was like, Granny, I'm going to be on the telly, and she was like, okay, and then when I came off, I phoned her back, and the grandpa said she's gone to sleep. And it was like, yeah, so I lost her. But she did see it, and she liked it. But thank God she only saw me with my clothes on. So, because what happened after that was I was sort of enjoying the whole 90s thing, having a great laugh. Didn't really realise we weren't treated extremely well as young girls. We were doing the magazines, we thought this was normal. This is, when you're 20-odd-year-old, you're on your own. I'm in London from Edinburgh thinking, this is great fun. And yes, I was one of those girls lying over a car. Buy a punto. It was me, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, So I got carried on and doing all these things, and I was doing Top of the Pops, which was great fun. But I had a box to stand on because I was so short. So the kids were taller than me, so they had to take the box round everywhere. And they're going, "Where's she going? Over there? Hello, it's still number one. It's Top of the Pops." And that was great fun. And so we're doing all the magazines. They never paid, and this is all started to get slightly dark. They took a picture of me. Obviously, I knew the picture was being taken. It was 1999, and I was naked with my bum out that side. And but they had to erase the nipple because that's offensive. Where's the lovely lady that worked at FHM? There you are. Hello. It's not your fault, but I'll speak later. But so they took this image of me and didn't pay me. And I got up one morning, and I heard my name on the news, BBC News, and I thought, well, that's a bit weird. And I went through, and there was a huge image of my naked body projected on the Houses of Parliament. So, and then the phone started ringing, and so it's Mum, first of all, going, "What have you done now?" And my dad has never mentioned it. My dad's passed away, it's never happened. Never happened. I once did a documentary, which I'll talk to you about if I get time, and I'd said to my dad, "I'm really sorry if I ever let you down." He went, "No, you just let yourself down." Such a Scottish dad thing to say. Yeah, who's laughing now? Sorry. But anyway, Grandpa phoned me, and I said, "I'm so sorry, Grandpa." My grandpa's name was Horatio Walter Stanley Twiddy. It's good, isn't it? That's his real name. And I said, "I'm really sorry, Grandpa." And he said, "Oh, it's fine. I've got myself a copy. I've got Uncle Alf a copy." And he's going, "I'm going to go see Jeff down the road." I was like, "Oh, God, I'm going to be sick." So, but there was a big kerfuffle about it because everyone thought I was involved in it. Obviously, I knew about the picture, but that was it. And FHM just went off the radar, never heard from anybody. I got the backlash, and everyone thought it was something to do with me, and it was in all the newspapers, and I was frightened to go out the house because, everyone had something to say. Everybody practically seen me naked, and it was just, you just carry on. You have to carry on because my mum didn't want to talk about it. It was my own fault. So anyway, we went through all that, didn't really get to any sort of end of it, but I was very wary of everything, and I found out, I started to stop going out because there was things in headlines in newspapers and things, and it was all getting on top of me, and I thought, God, I don't understand what's happening. Who can I trust? I thought I was only telling certain people certain things, nothing very important, but when I gave birth to my daughter, Honey, the paparazzis knew exactly where I was and when I was coming out. Turned out I'd had my phone hacked for 3 years. So it was 3 years of people listening in to my phone calls. And I was so lonely, and I didn't even know that sort of thing existed. You don't, I was quite naive, and it wasn't until a few years back, a friend of mine, Emma, took me into an office, and she said, look, she was working with lawyers, she was working with Hugh Grant, and we walked into this room, and it was all these guys, and it was just file. She went, that's your conversations. And I just said, you're going to have to give me 2 minutes. Went outside, had a cry, and I thought, I can't believe this. I was still full of the joys of, telly and fun and Top of the Pops and great. And then it was just getting dark and horrible. And then, anyway, I dealt with that kind of ish. And then obviously, I've got alopecia, my hair fell out. And so then no one wanted to touch me because I looked different. And I was actually working in America looking for dead people, as you do. So I did a program called Dead Famous, looking for dead famous people in America. So, we'd have seances and everyone got possessed and stuff. No, seriously, we'd be sitting there. When I first got the job, I thought, it's a bit of a laugh, isn't it? So you're sitting doing a seance, people are going, I was going, oh God, don't laugh, it's not funny. Sorry if anyone gets possessed or anything. And then they'd all go, oh, I'm Frank Sinatra. And you go, no, you're not. But anyway, everyone believed it. It went on for 4 years. So my mum believed, she said, before my mum passed away, she had cancer, unfortunately. And she said to me, Gail, it's not alopecia, I'll tell you this now. And I was like, no, it is. She's like, no, it's not. And I said, what is it? She went, it's the ghosts. So that's what it is. Apparently the ghosts took my hair. But I'll tell you one really quick one. This is quite funny before I get really depressing. I don't know, round it up, whatever. But so anyone been locked in solitary confinement in Alcatraz? No. Okay, right, well, we were, and there was me, and there was a psychic next to me, and her name was Carla Barrett, and then I was sitting, and I was scared and filming myself, and she gets possessed, and I don't, and I'm crying, so, you shouldn't really be sitting in a cell in Alcatraz at my age, bald, and she's going, oh my God, there's someone in my cell with me, meaning a ghost, and I was going, no, and then she says, oh my God, he wants to have with me. Can I say sex? Oh my God. And so I was like, oh, anyway, not you, Gail. He does not even like you. And I was like, oh. Can't even pull the dead. So that's why my mum thought the hair followed. So anyway, so get to the darker side of all of it. No one would touch me. No one wanted the Daily Mail. I mean, I hope nobody works for the Daily Mail or writes for the Daily Mail. But they were saying, why is she not wearing a wig? She just wants attention. And I was thinking, do you know what? I'm really struggling here. I'm not getting any work coming in. I've got no hair. I'm going to deal with it my way. I don't know anybody that's had alopecia. My mom's dying of cancer. She's losing her hair for a reason that she can't help. So sorry, I get a bit upset. And then anyway, so work just was drying up, and everyone wanted me to go on to morning programs. So you'd see me everywhere doing bits and pieces, but they all said, oh, will you come on and do this? But because you're talking about health, can you just do it for free? And so I was paying my rent and and no work was coming in, but I was keeping going until eventually no one was paying me, but I was an expert on baldness. And then I ended up, couldn't pay my rent, I was homeless. So this was about 11 or 12 years ago. So not, something you never think is going to happen. It was just, I'd gone through a bit of a messy divorce. Mum had passed. It was just one thing after another. And so my daughter had been staying with her dad. And I was sitting on a bench in Hampstead Heath, and I was just thinking, I just want to end it now. But I have got a daughter, so you can't do that. Sorry. Because it's the children thing, but I thought, I can't do that. That's selfish. And so I phoned up an ex and I said, can you just help me? Because I'd gone to doctors, as everyone goes through mental health issues, don't we? Everyone does. Yeah. We just kind of don't bring it all out to the forefront. But anyway, I'd been to doctors and they're going, oh, can you come back 4 months or 4 weeks on Friday? And I went, I need help now. I just want someone to talk to. And so anyway, phoned up somebody sitting on the bench in Hampstead Heath, and these 4 police officers come up and they went, are you Gail Porter? I went, nope. No. Not me at all. And so, they took me to a hospital and they didn't know what to do with me. And they said, well, we need a signature because we're going to section you for 28 days. because 28 days, what are you going to do in 28 days? Make me better in 28 days. And so they did. They said, we need your mum's signature. She's dead. You need your dad's signature. And I was like, well, he's in Spain with his girlfriend's prostitute. But, and so, yeah, they locked me up. And, so I was put in this facility. And it was just me and just everybody that they didn't know what to do with. So there was an artist guy who, he's really successful now. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it was. But he let himself, God bless you, he let himself in there because he just wanted help. And we didn't have anyone to talk to. And there was people that, I had anorexia, I was self-harming, I nearly lost this arm because I got a saw thing and I had 15 stitches, got septicemia. It was just stupid stuff. Didn't want to eat. And anyway, so they shoved us all in this little place and nothing to do. That was the thing. We all just had regulation pajamas. We were given medication for breakfast, lunch and dinner. I didn't take any drugs or anything. Well, I did back in the day, but that's a whole nother book. But so yeah, they just medicated us. So we were like zombies. It was like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but worse. And anyway, after about 15 days, there's no doctors. 15 days, doctors all come in with their little clipboards and everything. Never met them, didn't know who they were. They're all looking at me, they went, oh, Gail, sorry, you shouldn't have been here, you can go now. And I was like, you what? And that was it, I was out with a bag full of medicine and off I went. And again, it was just trying to get myself up and getting back on my feet because the press is all going, well, she's gone mad, she's got no hair, she's got no home. And I thought, no way am I letting them this is not going to be the end of me. And I was just sort of sofa surfing. I've run over time, haven't I? Okay, I'll wrap it up. Anyway, so a friend of mine said, would you go on Big Brother? And I said, I couldn't think of anything worse. And they said, well, they want you, because obviously they pick on people that are vulnerable, people are nuts, whatever. So I went on that and I thought, I'll be out in a minute. I'll be so boring. I was in for 3 sodding weeks. So, because you can't walk or you don't get paid. So I kept buzzing the buzzer going, hello. And they're going, what do you want now? And I'm like, I just want to get out. Could you just vote me out, everybody? So eventually I did get out, thank God. And then Emma Willis was the lovely lady that was doing the hosting. And she went, oh, how was that for you, Gail? And I went, well, I've been sectioned and that was more fun. Yeah, so but I managed to get enough to put a deposit on a flat to stay in, and I got a roof over my head, and I've never been so grateful in my entire life. And then I did a documentary about mental health and about how these things can happen to anybody whatsoever. And it was like I visited 5 doctors in over 6 months, never met them before. I had 5 different diagnoses, all different people wanting to give me different things. Didn't take any of them because I don't know these people. And we won a BAFTA. So do you know what? And my daughter, because we've got the daughter, and my daughter said, Mum, we've got the BAFTA and everything. I was like, she went, Mum, did you get that for being mental? And I went, yeah, I did actually, yeah. So, and now I'm an ambassador for 8 amazing charities. I work with the Samaritans. I work lots with animals. I work with Prince William with Homewards. I'm one of his advocates, which is quite nice. I get to go to his house for tea and everything. He said last time he said, does anyone need to use the loo? And I went, yeah, me. And he went, you just want to look at it, don't you? I went, yeah, pretty much. So I've got a photo if anyone wants to see. Toilet. No, it's fine. But loads of lovely, amazing things have happened, and it just makes me so happy that I didn't give up. And I was at that edge that if I didn't have honey, I would not be here. And I'm so pleased I am here because I've got amazing friends that I don't know what to do without, and we've all got each other, and I can't row. I'm really sorry. And I'm scared of heights, but I've done the 3 peaks in 24 hours. I've done the 3 peaks in 24 hours, and this crazy man said to me, it was like in the dark, and I hated it and cried all the time. And he said, you did it, Gail, well done. We raised 50 grand for Mind. And he said, well done, will you do that again? I went, F no, no way. Why don't you take me to play Scrabble in the Maldives? Why are you all shoving me up a mountain? But I'll join you on something. But thank you, that's it.